Welcome to Silver Linings Talk Show. And today we are in my office, so I am excited to share this with you. And there's a lot of conversations that happen in this room.
It feels good in here. It feels cozy, and it feels really, really good.
Yes, yes.
I really like the ceilings and just the overall feel of it. But I like what you just mentioned, conversations.
Yes.
And what is conversations revolve around communication, right?
Absolutely.
And I think that's kind of the topic we're rolling into today, right?
It is. I thought it would be a great topic just to have, for us to have our open conversation about communication.
It's been tricky, hasn't it? I mean, so many of us have been, holed up for a while with our significant others, our families. And I think some of us tend to maybe over communicate and some of us under communicate in those situations. What do you think about that?
Well, I definitely feel communication is just vitally important for any relationship. And especially when during, times of the pandemic, we were together a lot with our families or significant other, and we had to totally shift how we communicated because a lot of it just started to happen online. So, I feel like if we could, just briefly talk about like how we make communication good in our own households and maybe even in our own relationships, because I think like that's a huge piece.
Oh, definitely. I, worked in the same house as my husband, and we kept our distance all day. But we, when things opened up just a little bit, would make it a point to have like dates. We call them linners, not dinner, not lunch, but linner.
That's cute.
Because then it would be less crowded and we could go and have purposeful conversations with each other. And we'd bring notebooks, things we were planning to talk to about each other. Because when you're passing each other during the day, seeing each other all the time, you really do forget to discuss things, right? Because you're like, oh, I see you every day. Didn't I tell you that? Oh, no, I didn't. Oh, because you didn't write it down and you didn't really have a purposeful conversation. So it created this, time for us to really, really communicate.
Yeah. Awesome. And to connect in even a stronger way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So any thoughts you have regarding, maybe communication or communication styles? I know for me, it's always been about trying to be respectful in communication and trying to honestly listen to each other's perspective and point of view. And, each person then feels validated and heard is just super important. How about any thoughts you might have?
Yeah, I mean, for me, listening is really, really, really important. And I have to pay attention and really listen because I can get wound up in my communication and my feelings. And even most recently, there was a situation where I had asked something of my husband, and I noticed that he came off in a defensive kind of way. I was just asking a question. And I'm glad I recognized that it was defensive because I was able to actually put him at ease and say, you're hearing this as a question that's putting you on the defensive. I can hear it defense in your voice. And I'm actually just matter of fact, asking. So I was happy that I paid attention, that I noticed that, and that for me that's the key is to to really pay attention to the communications.
Absolutely. And when communication doesn't go so well, it can lead couples down a path that could also lead towards divorce. And, that also is a focus of our show today with an amazing guest that we have.
Right.
But first, we want to kind of showcase a video of her and a book that she wrote about divorce. So why don't we check out her video?
I want to change the way we as a society view divorce. There's so much shame and failure around divorce, and I really feel that it doesn't have to be that way. We all read books about the facts. This one brings in the spirituality. We align each of the 7 steps with one of the 7 chakras. So it's not only about how to do it with love and grace, but it's also about how to heal yourself and stay strong and bring your best self forward. In my professional career, I've taken women through divorce, giving them confidence and control, watching them reinvent their lives and seeing them so happy. We all have so much more power than we think. We're not victims. You can get through it with love and grace, and you can come out even stronger and better, because divorce doesn't have to be an ending. It could be a beautiful new beginning, should you choose to write your story that way.
Okay, wasn't that a great video to introduce this amazing guest, Sylvia
Yes.
Guinan, author, financial analyst, and author of this amazing book here, The Richness of Divorce. We are thrilled to have you here to fill us in on how this all came to be.
Thank you. Thanks, ladies. I'm so happy to be here. This is fabulous. Thanks for the opportunity. I love your show, so I'm honored. So the book, I think, having gone through my transition and also having taken over 39 ladies through divorce, it's just a topic that is really important to me. I feel that it's really, really one of the most difficult and painful things that one can go through. And I feel I found my passion. I mean, I want to help people, give them support, give them hope so that they can navigate with love and grace and then recreate the lives that, they want to have now moving forward.
So I'm very intrigued because I went through a divorce many years ago, and I love the title of your book, The Richness of Divorce. And it doesn't mean that we're going to be rich through divorce, right?
Right. No, that's not. No. I mean, we hope we can be, but if we're not, no. The real point of it is that I think in life we really grow when we're going through hardship and change and pain and loss. And by richness, I mean, life is all about how you decide to take these experiences. And I think that if you decide to really learn from it and, connect with self, and rebuild your life, that you can be so much richer, you can be so much more fulfilled and better. And again, life's about perspective, right? So we can look at it and say, poor me, it didn't work. Or I always say, it's changing a word in a sentence. So listen to how different this sounds. Like if I say, well, why did this happen to me, right? I am like the victim, it's poor me. Or if I say, well, why did this happen for me, right? What's the lesson here and where am I supposed to be next? We become so much more empowered. And I think it's just a great way to approach life, is just
In any situation.
anything.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
I really love the fact that you brought love and grace into it. And I think I recall something about stillness. And, being someone that hasn't gone through divorce, applying that to everyday issues, problems, just dealing with life. I find that we could just take this as a lesson and say, you don't need to have gone through or going through divorce to take this book and really get some great nuggets from it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. No, I so appreciate that. And I've been told that by other readers that said, like, oh my God, I'm not going through divorce, but I've used the 7 steps to help me transition. So I do feel that there's another book in me, and then it will be really strictly just, the more general about just how to really use the 7 steps just for transition. Because let's face it, we're all going through transitions all the time, right? Whether it's our kids graduating from college or us switching jobs or careers or moving to a different location. Yes.
Aging.
Oh, yes. So transitions happening all the time. And I think if we can do it with love and grace, again, we're so much a society of holding and struggling, and we don't have to struggle. And I think about love and grace is being more in a flow, right? Not struggling, but maybe surrendering to what's happening and being open to the opportunities, right, of the new beginning. And there's always new opportunities. And what I say to a lot of the ladies, because I really do love working with women in particular that are going through transition, is that, love and grace is something that you can have. So even if you're going through something with your partner and they're not choosing love and grace, you can still choose love and grace. And I always give the analogy, I think we learn so much from nature, right? But if you go outside and you're going to go for a swim and you're always just swimming on top, you really don't have a lot of control, right? Because if it's a beautiful day, you'll have a lovely swim. It'll be smooth. It'll be nice. If it's a stormy day, you're going to get tossed around a little bit more. It's going to be rocky. It's not until you dive in really deep and under the water where you get that really quiet, that stillness. And it's the same thing, I think, when we're going through transition is, even when we have outside forces or, somebody's reacting in maybe not a kind way, we could still get quiet and go deep and choose peace. So we do have a lot more power than we know.
Mm-hmm. And to go along with that is, certainly talking about love and grace and going deep and going inward. How would you suggest to someone, how do they tap into love and grace for themselves? What are ways that they could do that?
That's a really good question. So, there's a lot of different tools, but I think if, we all have our different ways that we get quiet, right? And they say, right, so when we pray, it's us talking to God. When we get quiet, it's God or the universe or spirit, whatever you believe in, talking to you. So I think, again, when we talk about stillness, right, getting quiet, and, we all do it different ways. I like to do yoga. And I kind of meditate when I'm in yoga. That's my meditation in motion. Or I'd like to sit by the water and just, try to get quiet and still. I think, some people love the woods and going for a walk in the woods. It's whatever it is that you can just get quiet and quiet that mind. I think, the mind is always sending this message, and the mind is very ego-based, right? And it's fear-based. And problem is when we're going through transition, right? There's many emotions, but there's two ruling emotions that we all have. It's love and fear. And when you're going through divorce in particular, right, the love that you thought you had is lost. And fear is at an escalated level, right? Because there's so much uncertainty. So it's really all about, right, like getting quiet so that you can calm that mind and you can really hear the voice that's coming from your spirit.
Oh, we haven't really heard a little bit more about the 7 steps. You talk about 7 steps particularly. 7's a great number. Can you maybe elaborate a little bit more on those?
And does that tie into you incorporating chakras into your book?
It does.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, we all have, we have many more than 7 chakras, but we have 7 major chakras. And when I was going through my process, I really decided that I wanted to just, spend time getting quiet and tapping into chakras and learning. And I really found that there was, a huge correlation between where my stress was stuck and what I was going through. So I wrote the book and talking about the 7 steps to unwinding your marriage with love and grace. Each of the 7 steps is correlated to one of the 7 chakras. And I really started, we're all familiar with starting with the root chakra, right, our balance, and then going up. And it was interesting because I wrote the book starting from the top down. So starting from the crown chakra, meaning enlightenment, right? That's your enlightenment. And whether you're the one that's deciding that you want to get divorced, that's like a whole new enlightenment. Or if the information is thrust upon you by your partner, there's a whole new enlightenment. There's a whole new world that's opening up. So again, I think it starts with the top, and then, we kind of tap into our intuition, right? Like, we kind of get to peace. I mean, it's usually not a surprise when we're going through this, right? Like we know sometimes we put things under the rug or we suppress, but it's really not a surprise, right? So it's tapping into your intuition because you do have the answers. And then I think, it kind of comes down to the throat chakra, right? And it's how we communicate it, right? And again, if we want to do it with love and grace, it's very different if I say to you, Diane, I'm done with you. I'm sick of you. I can't stand, it's over. Or I said to you, Diane, you know what? We've had a great life. We've tried our best. You didn't do anything wrong. I didn't do anything wrong. We've grown apart. You know what? Let's just commit to our children and being a great family. The marriage didn't work, but the family will work. And it's just so different, right? So it's about our throat chakra. And particularly the throat is a very interesting for women. We hear a lot about women having thyroid issues because we don't like confrontation. We don't want to tell anyone what they don't want to hear. So we keep things, in our throat constricted. So again, it's so important to speak your truth, but to speak it with love and grace. And then, it flows down to your heart chakra, right? And we talked about like the heart, all of a sudden closes, right? You get very closed when you're going through a transition of divorce or loss or pain, because we're protecting. So again, how do we open, right, that heart up, and how do we stay loving and peaceful? And then it just keeps going down, right? We've got our solar plexus, which is where our strength is, right? And then our sacral chakra. And then we finally end with our root chakra, right? Our roots helped us navigate through, right, the storms, but our roots have only gotten, right, when we go through tough transitions, deeper and stronger and more grounded. So that's the analogy. And I do give a little, I call it almost like a little cheat sheet at the beginning of each chapter about each of the chakras, because I love to know, I like to get right to it. So I like to know, okay, well, if I'm working on the throat chakra, well, what's that color, right? It's turquoise. What's the sound, in Sanskrit associated with that? What's the crystal that I could use? So it has a little bit, and it talks also about the emotions. It gives a little summary of the emotions that are affected with those particular chakras in each chapter.
That is so beautiful. So well said. I wish so much that I had that book when I was going through my divorce. It would have made a difference. Yeah.
Thank
That's
you.
Beautiful.
And you did
Yeah.
come out with Love and Grace, and you
Yes.
have a very successful son. So
Yes.
how did you do it? I mean, that wasn't really in style then, to have like a really peaceful, nice, divorce.
It was peaceful because I just kept, reeling myself in and having conversations with myself that it was the right thing to do. It wasn't what I wanted. However, it was the right thing to do. And I did a lot of that too with, just being at the water and meditating. I already had that like in my background.
Right.
I love your whole thing though with the chakras. That would have been a nice addition to, what I was going through. So it can be really tough to go through a divorce or go through anything. So everybody should read that. That's like.
And I also love the fact when you give someone 7 steps, you are giving someone the ability to almost have a path about how I can start my healing, where to go, where to begin. Because I could just imagine it is very challenging and difficult, no matter if you are the person who decided I want the divorce or the person who heard the message. And I love that you created the 7 steps to begin giving guidance and support on how someone could even begin their path.
It's the framework that was beautiful. To have framework, to have a go-to when all else is like going haywire, right? You have in your book a go-to that you can relate to. It's relatable. It's beautiful.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much, ladies.
Yes.
So I love the fact that you're taking a combination of something so spiritual and something from the other side, finances. How do you bring this to your work when you're working with women?
Oh, thanks. So I think a lot, right, especially as women, right, we talk about everything. We talk about our hair, our skincare, our sex lives, but nobody talks about finance. And when you're going through divorce, too, I mean, again, and you could probably speak to this, I mean, the number one stressor in life in general tends to be finances, right? So it's such a heightened level of fear. So I feel like it's just my calling. I just love to have these women who basically, normally had somebody helping with or taking care of the finance. The last thing I want is somebody else telling them what to do. So I want to empower them. So I call it creating a sense of clarity, right? So as they're going through their transitions, I like to align with their divorce attorney, their mediators, their accountant, sometimes even their therapist. We talk. And it's about how to really get them in a place, right, where they're comfortable. And my job, I feel, is to create clarity and to explain all the different financial vehicles that are being put on the table to be split and how it's going to affect their lives. And then creating a sense of confidence. I put everything, as things are getting close to settling, into a financial plan so that they could see, okay, if I take the settlement, right, and I stay within the spending band and I could do this, I can maintain this kind of lifestyle and I could still take care of my kids and do what matters most. And it also shows us if we have to make adjustments as well. And then finally, what I want when the divorce is finally over is to create a sense of control, right? So to have them really feel that they're at the helm, again, not being told what to do. I feel that my job is almost acting like a CFO, right? Here's all the financial decisions. Here's on the table. Here's a path that I suggest based on what I'm hearing from you. But let's talk about it, and you're going to make the decisions. Right? We're going to work together to get you there. So it's lovely. And I just think, too, that when somebody's going through pain and transition, I don't know, I just feel very comfortable being there with them, holding space, giving them hope. Like, I feel that that's my calling. I love that because that's all we need sometimes. You know, again, I always say, like, going through a transition is almost like walking a tightrope, right? When you walk in a tightrope, if you look down and just keep looking down, it is scary. There's a long drop. Nothing good is going to come of it, right? And it's so important to keep our vision on, okay, well, how do we get to that other side? And what does that other side look like? And let's just, you know, let's arrive. And that's my pleasure. And the beauty of it is, too, once you get somebody through and you watch them like reinvent their lives and recreate and see them happy, it's just so rewarding. It's so wonderful.
Absolutely. So we are down to our last minute.
Okay.
And would definitely love to hear if you have any last thoughts, any last word, anything that you feel would be a great takeaway for our viewers.
Thank you. I think, you know, for all of us, I think in life, I think the most important thing that we can do for ourselves is keep our energy in what we want and not what we don't want. I think so many times we stay focused on what's not working, what's this, what's that. And I think the universe hears that, and I think we create more of what's not working. I think if we can envision more and spend time on how we would want things to be and feeling like sometimes when we're really feeling scared or nervous or hopeless, envisioning the outcome we want, envisioning ourselves in the space that we want to be in and what our lives are going to look like, and feeling it. And I think that's how we kind of manifest. And it gives us hope, and it helps us transition through change gracefully.
So thank you again, Sylvia. This has been such a pleasure having us in your home. We're on location, and being able to have this wonderful conversation with you about your beautiful book, The Richness of Divorce.
Can we just add to, weren't you recently recognized to be one of the top 20 women in a magazine? Tell us about that real quick.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yes.
Investment News. I was recognized as one of the top 20 women in finance.
Wow.
And it is because of the work. I'm very committed to working with women and my niche and helping women just navigate through change with love and grace.
What a great guest, right?
Absolutely.
So much fun. But one of the things that is really bothering people these days is there's a lot of things that are high cost, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And
You're hearing that everywhere, especially the costs in the grocery stores.
right. So I have just a few tips that where people can, it's not about coupon cutting and things like that, because I know nothing about that. But just want to throw that in. But when you focus on produce that is in season, first off, you're going to get the best deals. And that produce is going to be nutrient dense. So let's just talk about what I have here. I brought a basket of produce that is in season now. So we're talking about corn, kiwi, cucumbers, strawberries, blueberries, arugula, basil. So, you know, a good variety of color.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, you can go to the grocery store and get it, and you're probably going to get a good deal, but you don't know where that's coming from, do you?
Another country, maybe.
It could be, and you should check. You should check those labels. Yeah, a lot of people do like to shop organically too, but still, that produce could be coming from California. So, how long is that going to be fresh, and how nutrient dense is it going to be? You want those polyphenols and those micronutrients that are going to benefit your body.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing that people don't realize is plants offer protein. Did you guys know that? Like, they offer plenty of protein.
Mm.
People think, oh, I got to have a meat or an animal protein to go with my meal. You could eat plant-based a couple days a week and really save some money.
Mm-hmm.
So where do you think you should be looking for this, where you're going to see lots of colorful produce?
I love farmers markets. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I do. I love them. There's one in my local town, Stonington, the Velvet Mill, where I like to shop there. But I also like to go to other ones at other places and maybe just make a day of it and go get lunch with my husband or look around that town and support that town as well.
And the good reason, too, is that they rotate. So there might be a farmer's market on the green in Madison on, I don't know, Tuesdays. And I don't know. Check your towns. Chester has one on Sundays. And these are all seasonal, but it's a great opportunity to see new places, but tap into the resource of locally grown produce that is going to be fresh, nutrient dense, and you're going to get the best benefit from it, and you're supporting local people.
Well, now is the time that farmers markets are just starting, and now is the time to really enjoy the experience. Because, for instance, I really enjoy going to farmers markets because I feel like I'm in like some European town where that's what they do is they go and they buy what they're going to have for the day. And I love that. I have my bags and fill it up of, what I see that I enjoy and what I like. And it's a fun thing to do also as a family.
And I used to like to challenge my kids. Let's buy something that we've never tried.
That's good.
That's good.
Because then you're trying something new.
We just bought fiddleheads last week.
Nice.
And they're only in like for 2 weeks, like once a year. And we were at the farmer's market and they had fiddleheads. I was so excited. And I wasn't even sure how to prepare them, but we figured it out. They were
What you
delicious.
do. So June is also the month of Father's Day. So we always want to honor Dad, but why not grab Dad and let him pick out his favorites and make a meal out of it? Because
I see my dad's favorite is in that basket.
What is it?
Corn on the cob.
Oh.
So I think it's a beautiful thing to gather stuff from a farmer's market and create this great cookout for Father's Day.
That's great.
Yeah,
That's great.
I think any dad would be appreciative of that. And why not? And
Right.
the farmer's market would appreciate it. So I think that's what I'm going to be planning for this weekend.
Awesome. So let's say Happy Father's Day. Fathers around, fathers in heaven, fathers everywhere. They've been very, very important in our lives. And let's honor our fathers for the month of June.
For baby fathers and honorary fathers as well.
Exactly.